on, babies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Simone Sports Show. I ask you one simple question. What's wrong with the Celtics? Spoiler alert, it's Joe Mazzula. We got Jack Simone here from Hardwood Houdini and How About Them Celtics podcast to tell us all about it, and I'm sure tell us how we're wrong, that Joe Mazzula is super great and he's doing everything right, and it'll eventually work out. So just, wait your time. But no, that's not the case. We've seen this act before. There's something wrong with the Celtics. We got to dig into it. What is it? Spoiler alert, it's Joe Mazzula. So we'll be talking about that. We've got some Patriots talk, of course, among NFL talk, a regular show as always. Excited to hear from Jack. But as we always do, let's kick off with some opening takes. Ray, you've really put me in a mood today, so you get to go first. Go ahead.
I think I was going first no matter what, but thank you there, Richard. Robert and Jonathan Kraft looked at themselves in the mirror and said, never again, after thinking the roster was great and it was a coaching problem when Bill Belichick was here. He hired Gerard Mayo, Alex Van Pelt, and something called DeMarcus Covington, who had a combined coaching experience of 0 last season, now has brought in a coaching staff for the 2025 season with a combined head coaching experience of 17 years. The experience and knowledge alone will help this team win, even if the Crafts don't spend any money.
Your beard looks terrible. I'm going to stick with the Celtics. This is more than just this season. There's got long-lasting implications for how they deal with this elongated slump, if that's what you want to call it. Elongated slump is also what we call Tuesday.
No!
At Irene's. Look, you've got the franchise is up for sale. You are way into the luxury tax. You've got a bloated salary. Anybody? No? Okay. There can be deals made right now for the future that we don't see coming. So bigger questions for Brad Stevens. He could go one of two directions. I think, we understand which path he's going to go, but I am interested in the future, right? Beyond this, beyond the elongated slump and beyond this season. Are they already starting to think about next year? And maybe that's getting in the way of what's happening this year. I don't know. So we've got long-term plans in the Celtics as well. Bobby, your opening take.
Reports are surfacing from the Senior Bowl where the Patriots have representatives, one of them the new head coach, Mike Vrabel. And these reports are surfacing that he is providing clear and concise direction to the personnel staff as to the type of players he wants and what skill sets he's looking for to fit the new team. Elliot Wolf has even come out and said it's such a breath of fresh air about being told exactly what it is you're looking for. And he also said that Gerard Mayo was a douchebag. He is also suing the Patriots, it seems. So that could be fun. It should be a breath of fresh air as we now have a coaching staff who seems to know what they want, and hopefully they won't be the worst team in the league next year.
Gerard Mayo is rumoredly suing Robert Kraft for that. I don't know if that's going to get to this show, so we mentioned it here. Don't say we didn't. You guys are real high in this coaching staff. I might have to pivot. I might have to take the other task in this.
You would. Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. What's wrong with the Celtics? Joe Mazzula. Jack Simone is here to tell us why we're wrong. Patriots are stockpiling experience. We've got the top 5, the worst of the NFL this season, not the best. We're not doing the best thing. We're going to talk about the worst motherfuckers this year. Justin Tucker, anybody? Man, let me hit the list. This or that with Chief Bobby and Simplest Minds of the Week. This is the Simple Minds Sports Show, Friday Rewind, live January 30th. Welcome to the show. Apparently, the Celtics are dumb front-running pussies. This is the same team they have been for 4 years running.
Well, my worst nightmare came true. Mazzulla and Mayo are friends. What the fuck? Apparently, they've known each other since Virginia. They have these docking sessions where they talk about ball and managing people.
I'm on vacation. I'm going to quay all these. I'm going to fucking watch them this week.
Do you say quay?
Is it not quay?
It's Q. It's Q. It's Q-U-E. You idiot.
The Celtics are dumb front-running pussies. This is the same team they have been for 4 years running.
Well, my worst nightmare came true. Mazzulla and Mayo are friends. What the fuck? Apparently, they've known each other since Virginia. They have these docking sessions where they talk about ball and managing people.
I'm on vacation. I'm going to quay all these. I'm going to fucking watch them this week.
Do you say Quay?
Is it not quay?
It's Q. It's Q. It's Q-U-E. You idiot.
Every time I see that intro, I feel vindicated. Because every day I feel like Ray's an idiot, and then I see that I'm like, I'm right. But this time, I was vindicated by myself. The Celtics are front-running pussies, and they're showing it night after night. Jack, welcome to the show. Allow me to do this before we get into that. If you're watching on YouTube, you're welcome. The beautiful, handsome young Jack is with us tonight, and Bobby has changed his room, so that's fantastic. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, Ray. Sorry, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, rate, subscribe, review, tell your friends, tell your mothers, tell them about the newsletter. Go to SimoneSports.com for all your latest content, latest blogs, behind the paywall, new merch, top picks in the biz. Welcome, Jack Simone of Hardwood Houdini and How About Them Celtics podcast. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Welcome to the show. What the fuck is wrong with the Celtics? It's Joe Mazzula. Why is that not the truth?
Okay. Listen. I'll start with this. Joe Mazzula is still a good coach, right?
Oh, boo,
You
boo.
have to listen.
Okay.
Here comes the
Hear me out.
slow innovation sinking
Hear
in.
me out. You have just like if a player is in a slump, if something is in a slump, you have to like acknowledge all of the good. Like Joe Mazzula just won them a championship, right? He has had playoff success, right? He's still a good coach. However, the first grain of salt I'll give you, since I think my appearances on the show, I hate the defensive game plan that he uses, where it is math and it is let's leave this one guy wide open. I think it's dumb. I don't like it. I've written about it. I've talked about it. Against the Rockets the other day, obviously Dillon Brooks hit 10 threes. Like, what the fuck, right? Dillon Brooks hitting 10 threes is crazy. However, they decided to double team Alperen Sengun, Fred VanVleet, and Jalen Green and leave Dillon Brooks open. Why are we scared of those three on offense? So I think I disagree with that. So as far as Joe Mazzula is not horrendous, like you guys like to preach.
Hey.
However, if there was one thing that I would criticize him for this season, I think that defensive game plan doesn't make sense to me.
Allow me. This is from a guy. I read some of his stuff. It's okay. Jack Simone, Hardwood Houdini. He says, Joe Mazzula's Celtics decided to calculate their defensive efforts, but otherworldly shooting performances by Martin, Gabe Vincent. This is paraphrasing a little bit from earlier in your article here, Jack. Duncan Robinson ruined that plan. Similar to what you just said. Monday against the Rockets, the math game once again crumbled below Boston's feet. Their goal against the Houston Rockets was to shut down their offensive engines, blah, 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 blah. But they let the biggest turd on the block go 10 for 10 or whatever from three. Look,
Paraphrasing. I see.
Paraphrasing. Again, this is the Simone Sports Show. Welcome to the game. Here's my second biggest problem. The first biggest problem is Joe Mazzula is a slave to the math, and we'll get to his quote, which drove me up a wall. Here's my second biggest problem, and we can put this on the players because I'm going to give you quotes from Tatum and Brown, but it really stems back to Mazzulla and his whole philosophy, right? So here's Jalen Brown. Quote, we wanted to get Jalen, Fred, and Sengun. We wanted to take them away, and then we kind of accomplished that, Jalen Brown said post-game, but they didn't account for Dillon Brooks. That's what Jack added. Tatum goes, Dillon Brooks, quote, Dillon Brooks hit 10 threes tonight. Tatum with an almost sarcastic smile creeping across his face. He set the franchise record. Didn't expect that for sure. Almost like, what do you want us to do? This loser goes out there and hits 10 threes. It's not our fault, except to Jack's point, that's happened to him. We can go from the Herald here. I have Zach Cox is reporting on this. Yeah. However many times it's happened to him this year, like 7 or 8, that the franchise records have been set against the Celtics. That's not a whoopsie, Tatum. That's not a
They did it for New Orleans. New Orleans, they had that. Who was it from New Orleans that
It
game
was a
against?
season high for Trey Murphy and DeJounte Murray.
Yeah,
Caleb
they were going
Martin,
off.
Joel Embiid, Jarris Walker, Julius Randle, Jaden McDaniels,
Caleb
Russell
Martin.
Westbrook, Keegan Murray, Trey Murphy, DeJounte Murray, Derek Jones, Gabe Vincent, Brooks was the laces. So however many that was.
Yeah, and that's since Christmas.
Thank you. Since Christmas. So whatever happened before that. The fact that Brown and Tatum are just like, we're doing what coach tells us to do. That shit happens. We're not worried about it when they're playing 500 ball, basically. Like that has me worried. I was not worried until these assholes started talking like this. And that stems from Mazzulla. We'll just trust the process, blah, blah, blah. We'll get there.
Yeah, I disagree with it 100%.
Like, can't say that.
I will also say, like, I disagree with it. I get it a little bit more in a playoff series where there is more time for the math to play. I don't agree with it, but I understand it a little bit better. It is how they won the finals, by saying, let's just send a little bit of pressure at Luka. We'll let PJ Washington have a bit more space. But Alperen Sengun is not Luka Doncic, but Nikola Vucevic is not Luka Doncic, but Brandon Ingram's not Luka Doncic. Like there are times where I think it could be useful, but rolling it out every game, like even against the Bulls, they beat the Bulls last night. There was one play early in the game where they were leaving guys open. It's just the Bulls are awful, and so it works.
Right.
There's levels to it, and I will also say, as much as that is something I disagree with, another problem, and Justin Turpin, who writes for WEI, pointed this out in one of his articles, and I pulled some stats from it. So they are 10-8 from Christmas onward. So including that Philly loss, they are 10-8 since then. In fourth quarters, they are generating. They have in the fourth quarters of the 10 wins, they are generating 7.2 open or wide open shots, and in the losses, they're generating 8.2. So they're generating more open or wide open shots in the losses. And that's because in the losses, and open or wide open shots is the defender 4 or more feet away. That is so like wide open.
Bobby could hit that shot.
They're shooting.
I hit it right in your eye, McPhee. You couldn't handle me right now. I would work you.
Relax, Dr. Swish. Let Jack finish his thought, please.
They are
Back off.
in the wins. They are shooting 51% on open and wide open shots, and on losses, they're shooting 27%. And you literally cannot generate a better shot than a wide open shot. They're just fucking missing.
Can I tell you why I think that is, and that without this stats
Sure.
and just watching the game? And I'll let Bobby go after this because he's the biggest Joe Mazzula hater on the planet, and I'm sure he has some thoughts. Here's what good teams do against the Celtics, especially close and late. They blitz Tatum, and they don't let him handle the ball. How many of those open shots were Tatum, and how many of them somewhere else? When the best player on your team is not taking those shots, that's what you want. That's what the Celtics are trying to deploy, except that they get smoked by Dillon Brooks. And Derek White decided to be an asshole for 2 months. And Jaylen Brown, I'm sorry to all you Celtics lovers out there, is not the player that you quite think that he is when he's put in those spots. All right. There's enough sample size to prove that. And the stats you just gave us, I think, back then up, but not totally. I just watch these games, and you watch good teams double and triple team Jason Tatum. And then when the ball's not in his hands initiating offense, it goes to shit. Because you run a 5 out, and like if Tatum's not driving and dishing and collecting 3 guys, no one else knows what the fuck to do except catch and shoot. It's simplifying it. I understand that, but really, those are the principles of Joe Mazzulla's offense. And I've been screaming it even before Mazzulla. This is really an NBA problem, not a Celtics problem. But Jason Tatum is 6'9" with a wingspan of 7 feet. Can you go to the block one time? Can you get doubled or tripled on the block instead of 35 feet from the basket and then initiate an offense? You'll get better looks. I promise you. It drives me insane watching them run offense.
The thing that makes me go insane real quick is Luke Cornett being on the floor in the fourth quarter in a pivotal game.
Injuries, didn't they?
But still, like, if you know he's a defensive liability, why is he in the game right there? Like, call timeout, get him out of the game.
I will say, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it didn't translate on TV. That, you'll love this, that was Joe Mazzulla's fault, not Luke Cornett's fault.
Yeah!
Because when you were watching the game, I assume you're talking about the one where Jalen and him switched, and then Emmett Thompson got rid of him. Joe Mazzulla's on the sidelines yelling like switch, but he did it too late, and so they were like, "What the fuck?" And then they got lost. And he said it after the game. He was like, "Hey," he stopped the question. He was like, "Yeah, that's on me." But like, just to take a little of the blame off Luke Cornett, because it wasn't. It was a little bit his and Jalen's fault too, but like Joe Mazzula was like screaming at them from the sidelines, and that was.
I'll go one further because he said the last 2 plays were his fault, and Luka let him dive down the lane for a wide open dunk too. The play before that, or not Luka, Luke, sorry, Freudian slip. He is basically Luka Doncic. Luke Cornett doesn't need to be in the ball game at all in that situation. I don't care if there's a 7-footer out there. Like, this is the modern NBA. Put Jaden Springer out there to put pressure on the ball. Like, the Rockets deploy 5, 6, 7 guys at all times. It's not like Shaq's out there. Why is Luke Cornett playing defense with 5 seconds left in any game whatsoever? I'm with you on that, Ray. Bobby.
I'd be happy to answer that question because Joe Mazzula doesn't understand basketball. He's a nerd asshole. And he is in a mid-season slump, and he has no actual tangible basketball reason to address it. He's addressing it with his dumb nerd tactics, and they're not working. He doesn't know basketball. He's never done anything. He's like the Mike McDaniel of basketball. He impressed Brad Stevens with spreadsheets and ideas, and then when you see them get out there, it'll look really, really good. But if everything isn't perfectly succinct with your best players, he doesn't have a second gear to get the motivation and fight through a difficult situation.
Can I ask you this, Jack? You can respond to that if you want to, but in that vein, and this is maybe an NBA situation less than the Celtics, but like, does he have the freedom to change that, or we know they're going by the analytics. We know that they're running those numbers. So the second you stop pressing those numbers and playing that law of average, it goes out the window. So it's like, if they take 3 games and they go, let's deploy a different offense, then all of their analytics go kapoof and they got to start over. So does he even have that freedom? Because I'm not totally with Bobby. I'm sure he knows basketball. He's been a basketball lifer. I'm sure he could run the motion offense if he wanted to.
I think they definitely can change stuff, right? Joe Mazzula has freedom to do. He's a coach. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I believe that. I'll use this as an example, even though it sounds kind of stupid. And I promise I'm going somewhere with this. So when we're upstairs on level 9 for games, we wait for the elevator, and if it takes too long, I'll think about taking the stairs. But in my head, I know as soon as I start taking the stairs, the elevator is going to get there. That's kind of what the math is. It is, if I stop trusting the math now, like, I'm gonna stop. It's like a fucking casino. It's like a gambling addict. If I stop playing now,
okay,
yeah.
You somehow managed to squeeze in a humble brag. You called yourself fat and a nerd all in one. I couldn't have insulted Ray better than you just did yourself in one 30-second clip. But I understand your idea.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying.
But that's a scary notion, to think that the head coach of the Celtics is going, oh man, if we diverge here, we might not get back to where we want to go, when since Christmas you're playing 500 ball, losing the way you want to go, and the league is caught up to you. They understand how to play defense against you. Like, it's time to adjust. All winning teams have to adjust. And the fact that they went into the season openly talking about doubling down on the 3-point attempts, and at times they've been averaging 60, or maybe not averaging, but they've had 60 3-point attempts a night, is like, okay, guys, sample size is big enough. This isn't working. Can we scale it back? Try something different. And if it's the nerds saying no, you can't, because the numbers will not do what they're supposed to do come April, that's a scary proposition. I would not want to live in that world if I'm the Boston Celtics.
But also, the coaches aren't like the greatest coaches always adapt to like what's happening at the current time. Like, you've seen it time and time again, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, all those guys. Like, if something doesn't work out, they know how to change it and get to Kobe getting the open shot, or Shaq getting down low, or whatever. It doesn't seem like Joe Mazzula knows how to change his philosophy or change his ways right now.
Just don't think he wants to. They just want to play what they want to do. What they do. He's very stubborn. And stubborn can be okay if you have a good plan that you're going to stick to. But I don't think he particularly cares for change.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, they believe it will work, right? They're confident in their approach.
Yeah, they're confident in that plan.
Yeah. So you can't. And to Jack's point, they won a championship with last year. And honestly, if you put them in a 7-game series against anybody in the league right now, they're going to be favored. So, the math is everything, Mr. James. Math works. I get that, but it's a stupid way to play sports, and I hate watching it. And
bingo.
And you've got a sample size right now where it's not working for you. So,
yeah,
could be scary walking into the playoffs. Like, if you play 625 ball to March, like April, you're going to go into the playoffs with the same philosophy. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard because, like, on the one hand, teams like historically championship teams struggle in the following season. Like you're talking about like the best teams of all time, like the Jordan Bulls and the Steph Katie Warriors that don't, right? And that is whatever. Like I know people were saying the Celtics, oh my God, they're going to be that. You're talking about two like top 10 players of all time. I'm sorry. I think Jason Tatum's great. Probably not going to finish as a top 10 player all time. Like there's levels, right? But at the same time, all it takes is like even if the Celtics were shooting average from three for the past month, they'd probably have a lot better fucking record. Even if, two of these players didn't have their insane career high shooting, like as much as it is frustrating to think of, like Dillon Brooks had 10 fucking threes. His career high was 6 before that, right? Like as much as it is like, just don't guard him like that, which I agree with. There's also an element of logic that's like, okay, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing?
Let's change.
And also like, there's so many factors that go into it. Like teams have tape on them now. Like you said, like teams have seen what the Celtics do for the past year. So you have to adjust to that. There is like, the Celtics have been more injured this year, even though it's not like long-term, like nicks and bruises, like Derek White's missed some games. Drew Holiday's missed some games. Not even from the perspective of like, oh, they're down guys, but like these guys are probably still playing a little bit hurt, or they're having to get used to different lineups here and there at different times. So like, this is not last season. And I mean, the Celtics are still a great basketball team. Don't get me wrong. Like it's just, I think the expectation was set so high before the start of the season that it was always almost going to be impossible for them to live up to it unless they literally had like one of the top 5 seasons of all time.
Yeah. Well, and they came out hot, but they are going to have to go on a winning streak. They can't play like this to the end of the season. So, and you've got a big thing coming up. You didn't mention in the injury thing that Drew Holiday friggin' stinks now. So that might also have something to do with it. Speaking of that, the deadline is coming up. Celtics deadline. Jaden Springer is the name you hear. He's got a $4 million hit, and they're up against the second apron. But I am a little bit. I don't think they'll do it. I don't think they'll make a big move, because I think they're relying on the math and their skill to get them through this season and win them a championship, and it very well might. And removing one of those pieces will be will give them a big disadvantage. However, they're going to sell this team this year, and whoever's buying it, I don't think wants to take on that tax. So do you think that's in the back of Brad's mind, or is there any conversations going on? Could that be part of this slump? Do guys feel unsettled? There's been some reports on that. How much of that kind of long-term Celtics being sold do you think is going into play right now, right around the deadline here, and resulting to the core?
Yeah. I think that's definitely an off-season problem. Like, I don't think Brad Stevens or anybody in the front office is looking at this and like, okay, we need to make a move right now, because realistically, there's not much you can do to solve that problem right now, unless you want to trade like Jalen, Jason, Drew, Derek, or Kristaps, which they're just not going to do. Like, they want to win a title this year, and you need all of those guys to do it. They're not going to trade Pritchard, Horford, or Hauser either. Like, it's just unrealistic for them to trade one of their top 8 rotations players as they're trying to win a championship. Trading Springer into space and getting back a second or giving up a second to dump him makes a little sense. Right now, with the tax bracket they're in, they pay his salary plus $4 for every dollar, so he costs them like $20 million, including taxes, which is like crazy when you contextualize it that way. You could also say, okay, if we're gonna try to go all in this year, trade Springer for another guy. I know Michael Scott of Hoopsite reported today that they're a team that has shown interest in Yabusele, which would be hilarious. So like you could look to bring somebody else back in. I don't know what it means for this summer. I mean, it's definitely something Brad Stevens will have had thought about at some point, and is probably constantly thinking about. But I think their goal right now is just to win a championship. And what happens this summer is going to happen this summer. And maybe they bite the bullet for another year, because the process of selling the team and all of like Wick's ownership is going to happen gradually over the next 4 years. So maybe they say, okay, we'll squeeze out one more year and then the following summer. But eventually, like Jalen, Drew, like two of those top guys, Jason, KP or something, one or two of those top guys is going to have to go, and it's going to happen probably this summer or next summer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're moving from Tatum or Brown. Porzingis or Holiday at a deadline move, I gave a little sniff. Like, if you can move Porzingis for some real front court depth, that is, I think,
hurt them so well right now. He's insane.
Well, right now. But wait until someone fucking sneezes on his ankle, and
it's the risk, yeah.
And he's got to sit out for the playoffs.
The problem with that is then any value you're getting back is probably not going to be worth it, because teams are going to have that in their mind when they give you a package for him, right? Like they're going to say,
I saw Steven Adams and whatever else was next to it, and I went, all right, I'll take the big ass Australian, and and take 23 pointers off the board for 4 games or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they're not going to do it. You're right. They're not going to, but there will be changes to be made. It's not going to be Tatum or Brown. I think they're going to ride with those guys. Who's buying the Celtics? As you're waiting, as you're humble bragging about being on the 9th floor and too lazy to take the
Rubbing
stairs,
elbows.
also worried about who's whispering in your ear. Is Jeff? What's his name? Jeff
Lurie.
Oh, Larry
Bezos?
No. The Eagles owner.
Oh, the Eagles owner.
Jeffrey Lurie.
Eagles owner. Bill Simmons. What's the word? Like, I don't think he reported it. He was like, "This could happen." So maybe that. I know. Steve Pagliuca is like leading a group to buy it. If I had to guess, that seems probably like. If I was to set like a line on it, I would make that the favorite. I don't think it would be like. I think it would still be plus money, but I don't think anybody knows. But just from the perspective of Wick knows Pags, he knows what he'd be getting into. Like Pagliuca's probably gonna really want it. That'd probably be my guess if I had to, but I truly like it. There's really been no news.
Value came in lower than what they were anticipating, right? Papa Wick is trying to die on some type of $6 billion deathbed, but it doesn't seem like they're going to get it. They're underwater.
Close
like
to it.
They lose money, so
it's hard because they don't own the arena. The Bruins own it. Like,
do you think the new owner? Do you think the new owner will build a new arena somewhere?
It depends on how rich the new owner is.
Yeah.
It might be part of the. It might be part of the deal.
To find that space.
Well,
they're saying at the new Encore that they could build over an Encore.
That's why Bezos is in the picture. It might be part of the deal. Like, they might have to go through the city and whatever else to like confirm. Confirm their own building. It's the only way you make. They're going to make up the money. So
especially if they have this expensive a roster.
And the TD is going to go. They're going to take that thing down at some point. It's
it's a landmark.
So it's a fucking Gattinger. They took it that.
Before you make Jack go, where's Jimmy Butler going to go? Where's the final destination?
It's so fucking lame, but he's probably just going to be in Phoenix. It sucks so hard. I really don't want it to happen. If I had to pick like a fun destination,
they'll fail, and it'll be great to see.
Yes, I agree 100%. Like funny, yes, but it'll be boring. If I had to pick a fun destination, I wish he wanted to go to the Grizzlies. I don't think he wants to, which is I don't fucking get. Rockets would be cool. I think Spurs would be cool, but they're gonna get De'Aaron Fox, so that's sick for them.
Yeah, they're nasty.
So Udoka's gonna come back and haunt this team. that
my ultimate fun
fuck the Celtics in the goddamn finals. Watch.
Yeah.
My ultimate fun team for Jimmy Butler, and this is like completely taking out the fact that it could fuck the Celtics if they go to the finals. I think if he went to the Nuggets, it'd be super fun. I don't think it will happen, but I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Isn't this going to be like the biggest 5-team trade of like all time or something? Like
it could be because De'Aaron Fox. I mean, if the Suns want Jimmy Butler, they have to trade Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal has a no trade clause, so he can literally do whatever the fuck he wants.
You're like, nah, I'm good.
Bradley Beal seems like the perfect guy to wave that to go to Miami and just go 500. For
Miami doesn't want him. They said no.
I would say no too if I was Miami. Are the Warriors in it on this at all? Jimmy Butler,
they're in on
Warriors guy.
Yeah, they're in a little bit, but I saw a report. I forget where it came from today that like Steph and Steve Kerr were like, we don't know how he'll fit, or there's like skepticism.
Because he's a massive prick and destroys
everything. Yeah, exactly. They already got one of those on the roster, Draymond Green. They don't need another one.
He's theirs though. He's their asshole.
Yeah.
We don't need like integrated.
We've got another fucking douchebag here. Jack, this has been insightful and therapeutic. Thanks for joining us and letting us yell at you about your coach. When he gets fired, we'll have you back on, and or when they win a championship, you can come drop your nuts on our channel.
Perfect.
Until then, follow Jack. How about them Celtics podcast? Hardwood Houdini. Where else you at? You're always shuffling around.
I think that's it. Right now, I'm 10 toes down those two places. So
if anyone's floating around on the 9th floor of the garden thinking about taking the stairs, grab Jack. Tell him, come on.
Come say hi. Come say what's up.
All right, Jack. See you, man.
Thank you,
Jack. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Yep.